start with Nathan, followed by Fidos.
Thank you, Spukazi. Rassie, good day, Rassie. Can you just give us a brief review of today's batting performance and what's the ideal lead you guys are looking to post for New Zealand to chase?
I think we're reasonably happy, I would say, not entirely happy. I think if we were 3 or 4 down, we would be in a bit of a better position, obviously. We went out there looking to play on the front foot. We were obviously ahead by about 70, and we knew their bowlers have bowled 30 overs in the first inning, so they would be quite fatigued. So we looked to put pressure on them. But I mean, they've got some world-class bowlers in terms of their discipline. They really don't give you much. So from a personal point of view, I went out there maybe a bit more streaky than I usually play, but I knew I had to try and put some pressure on them to build on that lead, obviously. So yeah, and luckily I ran out of luck there. Wagner bowled a brilliant spell with those short ones. So yeah, we're reasonably happy. Hopefully, if we can start again tomorrow, get through their first spells, their bodies will be sore. They're on about 40 overs now for the bowlers, so 40 overs in 3 days is a long time. But yeah, if we can start well tomorrow with a bat, I think it'll go a long way for us.
And then the lead.
Oh, okay. Let me get to the lead. I think, yeah, anything 270, 280 plus, and if we can emulate what we did in the first innings with our tail enders and get sort of to the 300 mark, I think mentally that would be a good mark for us. I think if we bat well, we apply ourselves tomorrow, bat through that first session and get to a position where we can really put the pressure on their bowlers. I think it's going to put us in a great position. So 300, and then you've got to give Keshav a chance to really get into the game. Our seamers sort of give them a chance to run in the short bursts of energy, and hopefully the wicket will deteriorate a little bit for our spinner to get into the game.
Thanks, Fidos.
Hi, Rassie. Rassie, how easy or difficult is it to bat at the moment? And do you think it will become more difficult? Like, what can you see changing, especially given the weather and the overhead conditions?
I think over here, the main thing is the ball swings. So that's the biggest challenge. The wicket is starting to play fairly well. There wasn't too much off the seam in this innings that we've seen in the series so far. It's obviously the wicket's a lot drier than it was in the first test. So there's a lot of seam movement off that good length in the first test and even in the first innings, yeah. But the wicket's playing pretty good. And yeah, that's why I say we need to get to sort of to that 300 mark, and then I hope it deteriorates at the end of the game, sort of late tomorrow, and then going into day 5. So the spinner can come into the game. But what we saw also in this last session, even the one I got out to, the ball just sat up a bit on that short length, which then makes it, if the wicket gets too paced, it becomes really tricky. I think Temba also went out, caught cover, which is not a dismissal that he often goes out to. I think the ball just stuck a bit in the wicket. So that'll be good signs for us, because if it goes sort of sideways and then stops a little, it does become tricky to score runs. Not always that tricky to survive, but tricky to score runs.
Lloyd, followed by Khanyisa, and then Genesis 2 in Afrikaans.
Thanks, Subsized Rassie. Obviously, a lot of cricket still to be played, and nothing to celebrate yet. But if you can just just talk about the comeback over the last few days, given what happened in the first test. Does it really feel like this is a team rich in character? I mean, is the fact I think a lot of people would have expected another defeat given what happened in the first test, and the fact that you guys have come back and delivered a performance like this, what does it say about the character of this team?
Yeah, I would hope it speaks a lot. That first test was obviously very disappointing for us, and like everyone said, we're not really sure what went wrong. It's we prepared well, we knew what we had coming into this test, the condition-wise, the swing, the grass on the wicket. So yeah, we didn't change too much in terms of preparation for this test. I think maybe it's that extra week of getting used to conditions and knowing what their bowlers are doing. But I would hope it speaks of our character. We've been under pressure as a test unit before in the previous series as well, and the way we came back, I think, spoke a lot of where we are. Yeah, I think, yeah, there's, like you said, there's still a lot of cricket to be played. I'm hoping that we can keep showing some character tomorrow. Got 2 young guys at the crease, another young guy coming in. If they can show some character tomorrow, and we can have another good day, I think it's going to go a long way.
Swaku?
Thank you very much, Spokazi. How's it, Rassie? When you look at the small momentum shifts in this game in particular, do you look back at the morning session, that first round in particular, as a part where maybe Dean could have actually used Keshav a bit more, looking at how Colin de Grandhomme and Darren Mitchell actually struggled against him at the end of the second day?
I mean, in hindsight, you can say anything really. I think our seamers were decent this morning. There was a few planned misses, and they weren't bad. I think the main thing is you got to give credit where credit's due. Those, especially the Grandhomme came out and batted brilliantly. His innings, the way he went about it, put us under pressure, up the run rate, and took the game forward. So I mean, you got to say sometimes well played to a guy who I mean, he got his career best. So he's had the best day that he's had in a test shirt. So yeah, it's easy to say hindsight, maybe this and that. They played well this morning. We knew if we could get one breakthrough at some stage, we can put their tail under pressure, which is exactly what we did. Yeah, but I mean, it's encouraging signs for us going forward. If we can strike again, if we can post about 300, strike early again, and the way they played Keshav, I think, you know, is really going to come into the game in the 4th innings.
Dennis?
As dit Rassie, daai 2 stryd tussen jou en Wagner was nogals iets om te aanskou. Kan jy bietjie praat daaroor, het jy 'n bewuslike poging aangewend, het jy gedink ek gaan hom regtig aanvat met die trekhoue en het dit bietjie warm geraak daar buite, was daar dalk 'n paar woorde gewees tussen julle?
Nee. Ek kan nou net eintlik vir iemand sê 14 jaar terug toe ek my first class debut gemaak het, was ek en hy in dieselfde span. So maar sedertdien het ek hom nog nie baie teen hom opgekom nie. Ek het geweet wat sy plan is, dis voor die hand liggend. Hy het heel moontlik geweet ek gaan nie 'n kortbal los nie. So ek het geweet daar's 'n gaping daar, as ek hom net agter square kan kry en hom mooi beheer, dan sal vir my lopies daar. Hy het op tyd gesê ek wil nie so uitgaan nie. Ek het op tyd gesê ek vir hom ek gaan lopies ook aanteken. As ek nie uitgaan nie, gaan ek lopies aanteken. So ek gaan hom nie net los nie. Ek dink ons albei het geweet dit gaan of heel moontlik ek of hy wees. As ek 'n beurt of 2 langer kon aangehou het, ja, het ek heel moontlik daai stryd gewen, maar ek bedoel, ons ken hom, ons weet dis wat hy doen. Hy het 'n groot tank, hy hou aan in hardloop, en weer eens, partykeer moet jy sê vir 'n ou wel gedaan. Ja, ek kan dink om dit te kyk was redelik entertaining.
Last question.
En dan die tweede een is KG het die laaste 12 maande uitstekend vertoon. Ek dink uit die tweede meeste paaltjies, net Robinson van Engeland het meer, en hy het iets soos 5 meer beurte as hy gespeel, en KG se gemiddeld is onder 18 en sy treftempo is onder 36. Wat dink jy het aanleiding gegee tot hierdie amper wil ek sê ommeswaai in sy vorm, en hoe belangrik is hy vir julle as hy op sy beste is?
Ek dink hy speel 'n baie groot rol. Hy's net 'n ou wat hy mis nie sy lyn en lengte baie nie. Hy vra heeltyd vra. Hy weet wat hy kan en nie kan doen nie. Ek bedoel, hy kan as 'n bowler kan hy meeste goed doen. Hy swaai die bal op twee kante toe, hy het 'n goeie wipbal, goeie streepbal. So ja, ek dink dit vir ons altyd vir hom is die bowlers kyk na hom, die span kyk na hom, en hy weet dit. En ek weet vir hom baie keer is dit 'n groot gewig om te dra op sy skouers, maar hy vat die verantwoordelikheid aan. Ek dink dis die ding wat hom goed maak. Hy weet as hy goed bal, speel ons goed, en as hy paaltjies vat, dan wen ons. So ja, ek bedoel hy's ongelooflik. Hy's nie lekker om om te face in die nette nie. So ek kan nie dink hy's lekker om te face in die middel nie. So ja, hy gaan groot wees vir ons in die 4de beurt en as hy het reg kry, dan gaan hy definitief ver pad gaan om vir ons die wedstryd te wen.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll
Dennis.
chat tomorrow.